The Divine Comedy, Inferno, Canto IX. That hue which cowardice brought out on me, beholding my conductor backward turn, sooner repressed within him his new color. He stopped attentive, like a man who listens, because the eye could not conduct him far through the black air, and through the heavy fog. Still, it behooveth us to win the fight, began he. Else, such offered us herself. Oh, how I long for that someone here arrive. Well I perceived, as soon as the beginning, he covered up with what came afterward, that they were words quite different from the first. But nonetheless his sayings gave me fear, because I carried out the broken phrase, perhaps to a worse meaning than he had. Into this bottom of the doleful conch doth any error descend from the first grade, which for its pain has only hope cut off? This question put I, and he answered me. Seldom it comes to pass that one of us maketh the journey upon which I go. True it is, once before I here below was conjured by that pitiless Aritko, who summoned back the shades unto their bodies. Naked of me short, while the flesh had been, before within that wall she made me enter, to bring a spirit from the circle of Judas. That is the lowest region and the darkest, and farthest from the heaven which circles all. Well know I the way, therefore be reassured. This fen, which a prodigious stench exhales, encompasses about this city dolent, where now we cannot enter without anger. And more he said, but not in mind I have it, because mine eye had altogether drawn me towards the high tower with the red flaming summit. When in a moment saw I swift uprisen the three infernal furies stained with blood, who had the limbs of women and their mien, and with the greenest hydras were begirt. Small serpents and surestes were their tresses, wherewith their horrid temples were entwined. And he who dwell the handmaids of the queen of everlasting lamentation knew, said unto me, Behold the fierce Irenaeus. This is Megara on the left-hand side, she who is weeping on the right, Alecto. Tisiphone is between, and then was silent. Each one her breast was rending with her nails. They beat them with their palms, and cried so loud that I for dread pressed close unto the poet. Medusa come, so we to stone will change him, all shouted, looking down. In evil hour avenged we not on Theseus his assault. Turn thyself round, and keep thine eyes close shut, for if the Gorgon appear, and thou shouldest see it, no more returning upward would there be. Thus said the master, and he turned me round himself, and trusted not only my hands so far as not to blind me with his own. O ye who have undistempered intellects, observe the doctrine that conceals itself beneath the veil of mysterious verses. And now there came across the turbid waves the clangor of a sound with terror fraught, because of which both of the margins trembled. not otherwise it was than of a wind impetuous on account of adverse heats, that smites the forest, and without restraint. The branches rends, beats down, and bears away, right onward, laden with dust. It goes superb, and puts to flight the wild beasts and the shepherds. Mine eyes he loosed, and said, Direct the nerve of vision now along that ancient foam, there yonder where that smoke is most intense, even as the frogs before the hostile serpent, across the water scatter all abroad, until each one is huddled in the earth. More than 1,000 ruined souls I saw, thus fleeing from before one who on foot was passing o'er the Styx with souls unwet. From his face he fanned that unctuous air, waving his left hand oft in front of him, and only with that anguish seemed he weary, while I perceived one sent from heaven was he, and to the master turned, and he made sign that I should quiet stand and bow before him. Ah, how disdainfully appeared to me. He reached the gate, and with a little rod he opened it, for there was no resistance. O banished out of heaven, people despised. Thus he began upon the horrid threshold. Whence is this arrogance within you couched? Wherefore recalcitrate against that will, from which the end can never be cut off, and which has many times increased your pain? What helpeth it to butt against the fates? Your Cerberus, if you remember well, for that still bears his chin and gullet peeled. Then he returned along the merry road, and spake no word unto us, but had the look of one whom other care constrains and goads, than that of him who in his presence is, and we our feet directed towards the city, after those holy words all confident. Within we entered without any contest, and I, who inclination had to see what the condition such a fortress holds, soon as I was within, cast round mine eye, and see on every hand an ample plain, full of distress and torment terrible, even as at Arles, where stagnant grow the Rhone, even as at Pola, near to the Quarnaro, that shuts in Italy and bathes its borders. The sepulchre make all the place uneven, so likewise did they there on every side, saving that there the manner was more bitter. For flames between the sepulchres were scattered, by which they so intensely heated were, that iron more so asks not any art. All of their coverings uplifted were, and from them infused forth such dire laments. Soon seemed they of the wretched and the tormented. And I, my master, what are all those people who, having sepulchre within those tombs, make themselves audible by doleful sighs? And he to me, Here are the Hesarachs, with their disciples of all sects, and much more than thou thinkest laden are the tombs. Here like together, with its like is buried, and more and less the monuments are heated. And when he to the right hand turned, we passed between the torments and high parapets.